Guys, I sure coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Hopefully it finds you all doing well. I'm doing well today. We're going to talk about nukers and who doesn't love a great nuker in the game. And today I have picked out four, and a half, maybe 4.25 nukers that have a very special ability that allows you to build them a specific way to take maximum advantage of this ability inside the game. Let me go ahead and cover that 0.25 first, and then we'll unveil what this ability is, right? So Undead Horde, come all the way, not talking about a rare champion, not talking about a legendary champion, not an epic champion, not an uncommon, but that's right next to Mr. Death Knight. We got Death Hound. Death Hound, the Hound of the Death Knight.
You remember me?
He has an ability on his A1. It's called Neck Bite. Attacks one enemy, will ignore shield, block, damage, and defense if the attack is critical. So I call him a 0.25A because his multipliers aren't anything special. He's a common champion after all. And I don't advise you guys to actually max him out unless you want to have a little bit of fun. And it's a little bit conditional. It has to be critical. The other four nukers that I'm going to talk about in today's video are going to be guaranteed ignore 100% defense on their ability. There's only four in the entire game that can do that. And because of that ability where they're ignoring 100% defense anyway, it allows you to build them without Savage, without Helm Smasher. We can just maximize their critical damage on those specific abilities. They're gonna, again, ignore defense anyway, right? We can build them to be just absolute god tier nukers in the arena specifically. So let's go ahead and talk about these nukers, and I'm gonna show you how I have them built personally, right? So let's start out with probably the most obvious one, and definitely the most meta of these four champions. It's Mortu Macabre. Now, Mortu Macabre, it's special because it's a secret skill. It's a secret ability, Peril. If he gets hit, you have a 20% chance to unlock Peril. Also, it fills his turn meter, which is nice. People usually build him slow, and they put him in Stone Skin. Again, he doesn't need to be in Savage or Lethal or anything like that because he's ignoring defense anyway. Attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore shield, will ignore block damage, as well as defense. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. That's 100% ignore defense. All right, champion number 2 is going to be the forgotten, kinda semi, maybe Mortu Macabre Mini. I was gonna call him the forgotten Mortu Twin.
Actually, it's more like
Vincent's brother.
we're twins.
It's not as easy with Blood Gorge. First of all, Blood Gorge is a really cool champion, a very good nuker because of its A3. It's not a secret skill, so it's always unlocked for your usage here. On a 4-turn cooldown, attacks one enemy, ignores defense 100%, and enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. Now, the downside to Blood Gorge as opposed to a Mortu Macabre is against a Warlord, a Yameko, a Basher, anybody who's going to put skills on cooldown, right? You have to be careful because, Mortu actually benefits from that because his Peril can't be put on cooldown. It's a secret skill anyway, right? So that's really cool. But Blood Gorge, he could also die because he's not a big HP-based tank as compared to Mortu Macabre. However, he has some really insane multipliers on Decapitate, and it's a block revive as well, right? He also has a Raging Beast. Speaking of putting the skills on cooldown, attacks all enemies, put one of each target skills on cooldown. That's a really strong ability from a nuker already. Now keep in mind, guys, with the build that I'm going to show you guys, maximizing critical damage at the expense with, of Savage and Lethal and Helm Smasher, well, it's obviously going to make the A2 and the A1s of these champions hit a little bit less hard, but they're still going to hit hard anyway because they're nukers, right? All right. Champion number 3, who has a 100% ignored defense. Say it with me. The last one, by the way, is going to be, after this, going to be an epic. Royal Huntsman. Huntsman, excuse me. So this guy's a beast, a boss in the arena, man. The A3 hits incredibly hard, but before we get there, he's got to increase attack on himself on the A1 if critical. He's got an AoE decreased defense for 2 turns, provided it's a critical attack on a 3-turn cooldown, so a debuffer as well, but dead aim, man. Woo! This is a big boy ability. Attacks one enemy, ignores 100% defense. It's on a 5-turn cooldown, but this ability ability, you can one-shot basically anybody. Right now, it's a little bit more challenging with Stone Skin and everything, but this is a big damage dealer provided they don't have a ton of buffs up, right? So Royal Huntsman has that ability as well, and the builds will apply to him, obviously, as well. And then the last champion, does anybody know? Does anybody know? It's Faceless, actually, guys.
There's no space in that thing at all. I can actually taste my own genital.
Faceless on a 3-turn cooldown has Ice Bolt. Attack one enemy, ignore shield, ignore block damage, and ignore 100% of defense on this ability as well. So those are the only 4 champions that have an unconditional ignore defense. Now, there are other champions out there in the game, such as Whisper, for example, right? She has this ability. She will ignore defense if the target's under weakened. So there are a few champions out there who have conditional ignore defense, but they require a setup. These champions, Mortu, Royal Huntsman, Bloodgorge, and Faceless, you don't need anything. They're just going to be ignoring all defense. So how are we building these champions? I'm going to take one for a quick spin in the arena as well, right? You can see here, right? We don't have any ignored. We don't have any cruel gear on him. You could use it. Of course, you can benefit from the A2 and the A1. I want to be clear on that. But I went triple crit damage. That's an extra 60% by my math of critical damage that we can add to make him an absolute powerhouse. 339 critical damage because we don't have to put him in Savage, so we can get at least 40% extra vis-a-vis 3 sets. So I like to build them all out crit damage, and see on the masteries, we went down and picked up. Let me move out of the way here. Whoop, not move the whole screen out of the way, Ash. Come on, dude. What are you doing? Look at this, guys. Flawless execution, another 20% critical damage because we don't need Helm Smasher. And again, this goes for all of those champions that I just listed. We can just go with crit. We're already ignoring defense. We don't need Helm Smasher to ignore have a chance of ignoring more defense. There's only 100%, you know? And these skills already are ignoring that. So hopefully I've driven my point home. I made this video actually, guys, because I saw a friend. Why is my screen? Okay. I saw a friend, IRL, who was running Savage and Lethal on a Mortu Macabre. And I was like, dude, why not just go all out crit damage? Why do you need to ignore more defense? I mean, again, you could use it on the A2, you know? Here's my Mortu Macabre build, by the way. You could definitely stand to benefit from it on the A2, but Mortu Macabre, again, the masteries, right? I mean, I'm coming down here and I'm picking up the extra crit damage. I don't need the defense. I don't need it, you know? And again, his A2 is pretty hard hitting, right? So yeah, you could make an argument that, you know what, Ash? That's all fine and well, but I still want to use Lethal and Savage just to ignore some defense on the A2. But I don't know about you guys. If you're lucky enough to have Mortu Macabre, dude, I'm rarely, if ever, killing anybody with his A1 and his A2 anyway. Sometimes if they're really low on health, but if they're really low on health, they're probably going to kill him either way. It's mostly all with the perils. And I want this to do a ton of crit damage. So what do I have on him? I have Stone Skin. 6 pieces of Stone Skin gear, giving him 2 turns of Stone Skin on a very slow build. Now, his crit rate isn't quite as high as Bloodgorge, but still 300% in Stone Skin. Now, if I had 3 triple crit damage sets, you know, I could be 350 plus on that crit damage. Everybody would be dying from that peril. So guys, this is kind of a short video. I'm surprised. You know, let's go ahead and take them into the arena really quickly here. Let me show you one battle with Bloodgorge, right? Let's go ahead, pick out a team here. Yeah, how about let's pick out this team, right? So it's the Venus, it's the Cupidus, they got a Hedgie, they got a Heffrack. We're gonna go with some protection because again, guys, we need to keep Bloodgorge alive. He's an attack-based champion, so we have Nekrit the Great on the team as well, and a lot of survivability because we're going against Heffrack, right? So Hegemon's gonna come in, but we had the block bust thanks to Nekrit the Great. And you guys are gonna see, let's go ahead and speed him up a little bit with the A3. They're not gonna be able to do anything to me. Okay. Let's see what he can do with his A1 first. Actually, let's not see what he can. Yeah, let's see. Easy kill, even without the ignore defense, right? Easy kill. All right, so here's his A. Oh, man, everybody's under Stone Skin. Isn't that a drag? But we can still use that A2, even though we're going to get the counterattack from Cupidus. We can put their skills on cooldown. Isn't that cool? Bloodgorge is an underrated nuker, ladies and gentlemen, man. He really is. Now, the Deny Revival isn't super important against this team, obviously, because, well, this team is, you know, they don't have a Reviver. But normally, super powerful ability. So let's go ahead and utilize my man's A3. Who do we want to kill with it?
Not me.
I think Heffrack, right? Boom! 161k block revive. See you later, man. So guys, if you have any of these champions, they can be so much fun. So much fun because you don't have to, you know, waste your gear slots on ignoring defense. They already do it, you know? So I think I've driven my point home, but I love these champions. There's not that many of them in the game. And of course, again, as I mentioned, there are others as well. Look at Bloodgorge, dude. He's just laying the smackdown. There's other champions as well out there in the game that have a decent amount of ignore defense or require setups like we talked about with Whisper. So if you're going to set up Whisper with a Weaken and maybe you set up with a Ryan the Conjurer or something, you could get a massively hard-hitting attack with an epic champion like that. Same thing obviously goes with Faceless. So guys, something to consider when building your nukers. How about you guys? Do any of you use Royal Huntsman, Mortu, Bloodgorge, or Faceless? I have to be honest with you guys before I let you go. I use Mortu and Bloodgorge. I don't use Royal Huntsman and I don't use Faceless, but I'm starting to think that maybe I should. Guys, thanks for watching until the end of the video. Much love to all of you guys, and as always, take care, guys.